Hey guys, you got a massive code base that feels more like a spaghetti than the software code, refactoring, breaking things left and right. Don't worry, AI tools are here to save your sanity. Today we are diving into how AI can streamline, refactor, and debug your code even when it is a hot mess. Codebase get messy for all kind of reasons, right? We all know that. Rapid growth, tech dev, changing requirement, multiple developers with a different style, and sometimes just we all feel procrastination, right? So it's very often happens, where our code base gets so messy where if you want to scale it or maintain it, it becomes a nightmare for us, right? But we have to take this decision and finally we decide to refactor or restructure, right? And then what? We get bugs everywhere. Like it's like playing a Jenga with our product, right? So if you can just see my screen on the left side, you can see this is a Flask-based application where this is my app.py where we have a 521 lines of code, where we have multiple routes with different modules, right? So I'm not going to talk about the functionality of this, but it has a lot of routes, right? On the right side, you can see this is my cleaner code where I have this run py, which is actually going to run my application. So now, let me just show you how I was able to just restructure this entire code base, right? So if I come back here, okay, so let me just explain the structure. This is my current structure. We have main, then we have, app.py, models.py, init_db. Model.py is nothing but it just contains all the DB related objects and how the objects are related with each other. Then this is initdb where we actually just initialize our database, and this is app.py which just control the entire functionality from the backend perspective. Right? And then here we have all the template, all the HTML file. But making changes into this, it's really a nightmare, right? We have to consider a lot of things and there is no modularization, right? So that is where I thought, can I just give it a shot to Gemma 2.5 where the context window is 1 million, right? So what I did is I just asked, so first I just put in all the code and then I asked, it suggests a lot of enhancement, but I don't want to do that until or unless we have a modularized code or refactor the standardized code so that the future changes becomes very easy to implement, right? So I asked this question, can you just refactor to modelize the code as app.py has become so bulky, right? This is where if you just see the thinking, the thought, which, this AI model has put together, which is really awesome, right? So it's first identify the core concept and the resources, right? So it's trying to understand what the entire code base is doing. It is basically a risk and compliance management system, which I built as a web application. Then it is trying to just thinking about what refactoring strategy should be applied, like blueprints, right? Where we modularize the code, we extracted routes, related code, views and templates and the static filing in different folders. Then it applies application factory pattern so that at the same time, we can have a multiple instances running from the same application with a different version as well. So separating a model, service layer, and all this stuff. So you can see the entire thinking process, and this is the project structure which AI came up with, right? So let me just come down here where it's providing the actual response to us. So see, this is the entire code base, right? So I'm not gonna, so this is what, the structure looks like. So let me just come back to the PyCharm and let me just show you what it has. So now you can see the same application where we have a compliance demo and then we have a compliance_app. So what it does is due to the app, the blueprint assessment. So all the routes related to assessments have here, right? So it's pretty straightforward. Then all the control-related routes in this code, those findings, and these are the different modules which we have. And then we have a templates where we have all the HTML file, right? And then we have this initdb here and run.py, right? And the other thing which it does is just follow the standard practice where under the compliance underscore the app, we have our init file where we are actually just creating our application where where we can download, where we can, have a multiple instances running with having a different config name. Right? So this is how the structure looks like, where our code is very modularized. And if you want to make the changes in control, so all we need to do is just to go to the control route and we can just make the changes. So now having this structure, it's very easy for us to just enhance this, right? So the next thing, we can run this and see what happens. Okay, so it's running fine. This is my dashboard. Then I have a control, risk, assessment, open findings, right? So if that application is working, and if I have to change anything, all I need to do is to just go to the respective module or the respective piece of code and just make the adjustment, right? So if I come back here, it's really powerful. But when I did this, I got into a lot of troubles, a lot of issues, right? So this is very first issue where I got this operational error where the institution, I have already published the video where I was getting into this error, right? So there was a lot of to and fro, but eventually Claude AI's Sonnet 3.7 actually helped me to figure out the bug and fix it. But apart from that, I just got into the another issue, which was related to the invalid request. I'll show you that. Help me to fix that. Start this way, right? So you can see here. So what it was telling is, and this was happening before the restructuring, right? And I was just explaining you the pain what I was getting into when the code was so messy and it was not modularized, right? So I was getting this, invalid request error where it says that the assessment result is already defined for the metadata instance and specify extend existing prostitute to redefine the options, right? But this is again very messy, right? It was not a good practice, and the code was so messy that I was not able to understand that, the same thing is redefining again and again somewhere, right? So if you just see the thought process, how, Gemma 2.5 actually just analyzed this information and just came up with some kind of rationalized approach, how it can be fixed, and I was getting into the same issue again and again. Claude AI Sonnet 3.7 came for a rescue, and that actually helped me to fix the issue. So in that sense, for refactoring, I would go for this Gemma 2.5 Pro because it has a largest context window, and whenever it comes to the largest code base, I think the Gemma 2.5 Pro is the one which we should consider for the refactoring. And once you have a basic code, and if you get into these errors, and if Gemma 2.5 in few iteration is not able to solve that, then probably you can go back to the Claude AI 3.7 Sonnet, or you can just go for any another, AI tool which is good for the coding, right? And by having this refactoring, now I have this clean code, which is very easy to maintain, very easy to scale. So I would suggest, if you guys have not yet start using any AI tool, I would suggest to start using an AI tool and see the power of each and every tool and try to understand which tool works best in which situation. And then you can combine the power of these AI tools to just be more effective and efficient in your day-to-day work. That's it from my side for this video. If you have any feedback or suggestion, please feel free to put that into the comment section. If you really like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and please share this video to whosoever you feel like would be helpful. And if you haven't subscribed for my channel, please subscribe that, because I'm gonna just keep sharing my experience so that you guys can also get benefit out of it. So as always, thanks for watching this. Stay healthy and keep learning and moving.